All right? That's the first point that I wanted to talk with you about, and that's the face. And the second point is prepositions, which are shown through placement, where you place objects and how you interact with those objects in space, and also how the verb moves, which way you make the verb, like I'm going to the store, or I'm going over to school, or I am going home, or maybe I'm coming home. The direction of the verb indicates the preposition. That's called verb directionality. That's verbs in ASL pretty much behave a lot like Hebrew verbs. There's a lot of inflection. Where, to, from, and those kinds of things are included in the verb. And I know most of you haven't studied Hebrew. One of you has. Am I right? Anyway. Okay, so those are the first few topics. The next one is fingerspelling. Oh my gosh, fingerspelling is awful. It's so hard, but really, honestly, it's not that hard to learn. It's fairly easy to learn, but it's hard to master. Because reading fingerspelling, you can see fingerspelling fairly quickly. Your brain picks it up very fast. Your eye can read it at 1/250th of a second. That's really fast. But even though it comes in your eyes, your brain doesn't interpret it as language. Because your brain doesn't read it as language. It comes into your eyes and goes to the right side of the brain, where it's processed visually. But if you want it to be language, it has to jump to the left side of the brain, to Broca's area, where language is processed, and that way it will be understood as language. So your brain needs to learn to read fingerspelling, much like you learn to read English. You see spot run spot run, all of those things you learn to read, and your brain learned to process it as language, and you learn to read fingerspelling much the same way. Also, when you make letters, some people make letters in all sorts of different directions and upside down and backwards. When you make the letters in fingerspelling, make them toward the person. And here's the example. Now, you notice something here. My palm is not turned out from my arm, or turned back toward myself, or turned to the side. It's kind of slightly to my non-dominant side, and the reason for that is it's a more comfortable position. So also this area tends to be the fingerspelling area, somewhere in this plane. Tends to be where the fingerspelling takes place because it's more comfortable. So you don't have to move out as you fingerspell. You can move it out, you keep it in the same location unless you're spelling a title. The black cat. That would follow a line because it's a title. Most fingerspelling is done just basically in this location. My name, I am Paula. My name is Paula. My last name is Willig. Right here, see? I like to teach American Sign Language, linguistics. See, I'm spelling right about there. So fingerspelling is another topic, and classifiers is another topic. What are classifiers? That's interesting because English doesn't have them at all. Classifiers are hand shapes that represent something. For example, I'm going to talk about a car. I might fingerspell car or sign car, and then I do this hand shape, the 3 hand shape, sideways. Now if I don't say car first, you don't know if this 3 hand shape is a car or truck or a bus or a bicycle, or you don't know what type of vehicle it is, because basically this 3 hand shape is a general hand shape for vehicle. So it could be a train, it could be a bus or a car or a truck or any note, and all of those things. Okay, so we've talked about facial expression, we've talked about fingerspelling, prepositions, and space, location, classifiers, and now we're going to talk about lower facial grammar. Now, the lower face has meaning too. There are adjectives and adverbs that occur on the lower face. Like, for example, someone's big and fat, or someone's thin, are shown that way. Something's really hard is shown with the intense marker. Or something's really fast, it can be intense too. I'm driving very fast. Or I'm driving in a casual pace, sort of an everyday, regular way. That would be this marker. This tongue means something's far away, or I want you to look at something. Look at something, look. Or it's very far. I go la 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 for something that's very far away. The tongue out means kind of a boring situation, same old, same old. So there are many lower facial grammar behaviors. I'm not going to go into depth about them all, but I just wanted to briefly mention them so that, and show you, so that you would be able to recognize them. But basically signs have their own lower facial grammar, just like the sign for same has its own lower facial grammar, or the sign for finish, or pa, which means success, at last. You do pa on the lips and you come up and sign success. Alright? So those are the various short introductory notes to ASL. English and ASL are different languages. American Sign Language does not follow English word order. Often it'll start with the topic and then end with the comment. And that topic is frequently the object of the sentence. So, if you ask what an object is, it's like, for example, in the sentence, English tends to follow subject, verb, object. So the cat ran up the tree. Tree would be the object. But American Sign Language will start with the object. Tree, cat, run up. So that would be object, subject, verb. Okay, ASL word order is a little bit more flexible, and it varies quite a bit. English word order is fairly rigid. Okay, so that's your introduction to American Sign Language. Now watch signing, watch the face, also the lower face. See what happens, watch the body leans, the head tilts. Sometimes it's just the upper head and the jaw. Sometimes it's just the eyes. So watch those things. And classifiers and fingerspelling and where something is placed in space, location, and the use of space. All of those go together to make up American Sign